Here's your Farm and Ranch Report from the Montana Ag Network.
Welcome back for today's Farm and Ranch News. Today, U.S. wheat farmers are applauding the news that U.S. Trade Representative Katherine Tai has worked to resolve the long-running World Trade Organization dispute over aircraft subsidies between the U.S. and the European Union. The dispute led the EU to place retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods and was a barrier to U.S. wheat exports to the EU.
Sends a very positive sign as we think about getting back to a post-COVID world where world leaders can meet together and host these kinds of U.S.-EU summits that we saw this week.
Henry walked us through how airline subsidies impacted wheat exports.
This actually goes back to two cases at the World Trade Organization. The U.S. sued the EU over their subsidies provided to Airbus, and the EU turned around and sued the U.S. over our subsidies provided to Boeing. Now, over the course of about a decade and a half, both of those cases were won by their respective countries. And in the last 24 months, both countries received the right to retaliate. And that retaliation is really the hammer that enforces WTO rules. Essentially, if you win a WTO case and another country doesn't comply, you seek the right to issue retaliatory tariffs.
During the first week of November 2020, the EU placed retaliatory tariffs on non-durum U.S. wheat, which effectively blocked average annual imports of more than 538,000 metric tons of mainly U.S. hard red spring and some hard red winter wheat.
It pretty well completely shut off our hard red spring business. If we just kind of looked at the 2020-2021 marketing year, we'll see final U.S. wheat sales to the EU of about 220,000 tons. That's almost 100,000 tons below the year before that, which was off about 100,000 tons the year prior to that. So all in all, couple of year period, we're looking at hard red spring sales at about half the levels of the EU that they had been previously.
The suspension of the retaliatory tariffs will only last for 5 years, pending on how negotiations on aircraft subsidies go between the EU and U.S. We'll be right back.